To make the presentation of our trinomial cube more exciting, I'll tell you a story about the king, the queen, the prince, and everybody else inside the palace. One day, the prince is so bored inside the palace, so he asked the king and the queen if they can possibly have a picnic out of the palace. So, they decided to have a picnic out of the palace, and the first batch who will be going out of the palace is the prince. The prince is followed by his two servants, his two tutor, servant of the queen, two black knights, and one servant of the king. The second batch who will be going out of the palace are the servant of the prince, servant of the queen, two black knights, the queen, the ladies in waiting, and the minister of the king. The third batch who will be going out of the palace is again tutor of the prince because he loves to study, two black knights, servants of the king, another lady in waiting of the queen, ministers of the king, and the last one who will be going out of the palace is the king. Okay, so they had fun, they played together, they ate a lot, and when they are very tired, they decided to go back to the palace. So the last one who went out of the palace will be the first one who will get into the palace. So the first one who will get into the palace is the king, followed by the ministers of the king, then one lady in waiting of the queen, the servants of the king, the two black knights, one tutor of the prince. The second batch will be the minister of the king, the ladies in waiting of the queen, the queen, black knights, the servants of the queen, and one servant of the prince. The last one will be the servants of the king, the two black knights, servant of the queen, the tutors of the prince, the servant of the prince, and the prince. Then they all sleep